Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
We begin tonight in Corning. The first round of COVID-19 vaccines is slated to arrive soon, and the Southern Tier is expecting several thousand doses. Matt Kleindienst is in Corning, explaining how facilities may distribute the vaccine.
Governor Cuomo announced that about 170,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine will be shipped to New York by this weekend at the earliest. Of those 170,000, the Southern Tier is expected to get 4,500 vials, with local healthcare centers being charged with distributing the shots. However, plans are still being worked out on how to best distribute the vaccine. Arnott Health spokesperson Ken Roberts previously stated that a limited number of doses will be on site by next week at the earliest. Roberts also stated that the vaccines they receive will be given to nursing home residents and staff, as well as frontline workers, depending on their exposure risk. It still may be months before the vaccine is more widely available. Governor Cuomo stated that he thinks the general public will have access to the vaccine by February. Reporting from Corning, Matt Kleindienst, Big Fox, WYDC.
Vaccine maker Moderna has started its trial of the COVID-19 vaccine in U.S. adolescents. Moderna made that announcement today. The company said it intends to enroll 3,000 American teens. That study is being conducted in collaboration with the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. They will evaluate the safety and efficacy of administering 2 vaccine doses 28 days apart to children ages 12 to 17. Wednesday was the deadliest day of the coronavirus pandemic in America so far, with a staggering 3,100 deaths reported. That single-day total is more than the number of people killed on 9/11. It's more than Hurricane Maria and Katrina or the Pearl Harbor attack. Alexandra Field has more.
Intensive care units in some hospitals running out of space this morning, the result of an alarming surge in new coronavirus cases in many states. For the first time, the United States reported over 3,100 coronavirus-related deaths in one day.
It's going to get worse. Our case counts are continuing to rise.
More than 106,000 people are hospitalized with the disease, a record. In California, there are only around 1,500 ICU beds available within the nation's most populous state. The Los Angeles County Health Department says there are around 500 new hospitalizations daily, and that will only increase.
This is the most dangerous time for LA County. And I do ask everyone to please be extremely careful and diligent in protecting yourself and everyone else.
This as the U.S. recorded over 221,000 new infections Wednesday. Some state and local leaders tightening stay-at-home restrictions.
The facts are indisputable. Our cases continue to rise.
COVID doesn't care how you want to go back to normal. It is actively looking to infect us all.
In just hours, the first vaccine could clear a hurdle for distribution in the United States. An FDA panel is scheduled to meet today to discuss whether to recommend Pfizer's candidate for emergency use authorization. They're also investigating why 2 healthcare workers in the UK had allergic reactions to that vaccine.
Pfizer and the UK health officials are going to pinpoint exactly what it is in the vaccine formulation that caused that allergic reaction. This is not a major concern. They're going to sort out what it is and make sure that folks who are allergic to that thing do not get the vaccine.
At this critical point of the crisis, health experts emphasizing it will take many months to make a vaccine available to the general public.
So we want to make sure that everyone is doing everything they can to wear their face mask and reduce the spread of the virus.
And for those hesitant to take it, Dr. Anthony Fauci is stressing there are no corners being cut in the approval process.
If the United States Food and Drug Administration says that a vaccine is safe and effective, I can promise you that I will take that vaccine myself, and I will recommend that my family does that.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has released new COVID-19 hospitalization data. It shows a third of hospitals nationwide had more than 90% of their ICU beds occupied last week. COVID patients occupied 28% of inpatient beds and 46% of staffed ICU beds. That's up from 19% and 37% in the first week of November. This data is the first from the national government to report local facility-level data. Corning has announced it's donating $180,000 to 6 local school districts to help improve their virtual learning capacity. Grants will range from $10,000 to $50,000, depending on student population. The schools receiving those grants include Corning Painted Post, Horseheads, Elmira, Addison, Watkins Glen, and Campbell Savona. Schools will use the money to purchase equipment and resources to meet the needs of students and their families.
And so this funding is specifically targeted to those local schools so that there can be that assistance to get families connected so students can continue to learn while we're in this very strange time.
Corning Painted Post and Horseheads are planning to use the money to expand Wi-Fi access to families in their districts. Corning superintendent says that money will help about 300 families in the Corning Painted Post district. Republican and Democratic lawmakers are trying to reach a deal for a new coronavirus relief package. But so far, the proposal does not include direct stimulus payments like the ones millions of Americans got earlier this year. John Lawrence has more.
There's still a stalemate on a stimulus package, and the clock is ticking.
People's eyes are fixed on Congress. They need the House and the Senate to stop chasing our tails and make a law.
A bipartisan group of lawmakers has proposed a deal that includes giving the unemployed $300 more a week for 16 weeks, $300 billion in aid for small businesses, and a continued pause on federal student loan payments through the end of April. The plan doesn't include stimulus checks.
We need a large, bold program to stimulate the economy, help people out of the conditions they're in, but keep the economy going for a long period of time.
Congress is trying to get a bill passed soon because aid programs that were approved in March, including jobless assistance measures and eviction protections, expire before the end of the year.
We're not going home until we do get one. How can you face the people back home that have lost their unemployment check, that have lost their food assistance, they've lost their shelter, all the necessities of life that we take for granted?
Sticking points include state and local aid and liability protection for employers.
This need not be rocket science. But we can't do a thing unless the Democrats decide they actually want to make a law.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Unemployment claims in the U.S. have hit their highest level since mid-September. Today, the Labor Department reported another 853,000 Americans filed for first-time unemployment benefits last week on a seasonally adjusted basis. That's the third increase in the past 4 weeks. The Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program helps people like the self-employed. Under that program, nearly 428,000 workers filed claims. Together, first-time claims totaled 1.4 million last week, not adjusted for seasonal changes. As for continued jobless claims, they rose to 5.8 million with seasonal adjustments. President-elect Joe Biden continues to build out his cabinet as he prepares for his time in the White House. But his latest pick for defense secretary might have a difficult time getting confirmed. Meanwhile, federal authorities are now actively investigating the business dealings of Hunter Biden. That's according to a person with knowledge of the probe. Camila Bernal has the latest on the transition and the reaction to the investigation.
President-elect Joe Biden hoping to convince lawmakers to confirm retired Army General Lloyd Austin as the next defense secretary.
I know this man. I know his respect for our Constitution.
But in order to get him confirmed, Congress would have to waive the requirement that the position be filled by someone who has been out of active duty military service for at least 7 years.
I would not be asking for this exception if I did not believe this moment in our history didn't call for it.
If confirmed, he would make history as the first black Secretary of Defense.
I come to this role, this new role, as a civilian leader with military experience, to be sure.
But not all Democrats are on board. Austin is the first nominee to encounter resistance from senators in the incoming president's own party, mainly due to questions of the waiver.
I haven't talked to my colleagues yet about that. I want to hear what they have to say.
Meanwhile, the transition also acknowledging that federal authorities are actively investigating Hunter Biden's business dealings in China. In a statement, Hunter Biden saying that these matters will demonstrate that he handled his affairs legally and appropriately. President-elect Joe Biden is not implicated in the matter. I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
Happy Hanukkah to all those whose celebration began at sundown tonight with the lighting of the first candle for the 8-day Jewish Festival of Lights. Another candle is lit each night thereafter, with all 8 candles burning on the last night, which this year is Friday, December 18th. The holiday commemorates the victory of the Maccabees over the Syrians and the rededication of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. Gift-giving, potato pancakes, jam-filled donuts, and spinning tops called dreidels are also key parts of the celebration. Still ahead tonight, states around the country are working on their distribution plans for the much-awaited COVID-19 vaccine. But which phase will you be eligible for? Coming up, which groups of people will receive the first round of vaccinations, and who's next in line?
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Attar. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. Yesterday, we didn't even get out of the 30s. Today, a different story with plenty of sunshine and south winds, and that brought those warmer conditions with highs in the 40s. So we were nearly 10 degrees above normal, but definitely about 10 degrees warmer than this time yesterday in Corning, 11 in Elmira, Watkins Glen around 10, and Bath around 10 as well. We're going to continue with this warming trend as we head into tomorrow, but it is going to be a cold start to our day. So if you're going to be making coffee at 5 o'clock in the morning, readings will be around 32 degrees outside, so you definitely want very hot coffee. You definitely want to grab a coat, though, if you're going to be heading out the door early in the morning hours. By 6 o'clock, around 32 degrees, barely above freezing at 7, and then 37 degrees at 8 o'clock as you head out the door. Light winds early tomorrow, but it's going to be coming from the south, and that's going to bring those temperatures up. By the afternoon, we're looking at highs around 10 to 15 degrees above normal. But if you take a look at the map, we're seeing some rain in western Michigan by tomorrow afternoon, and that comes as a cold front will be marching eastward. We are going to be in the warm sector of the system on Saturday night into Sunday. So I'm expecting a few showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms. But as that low drifts to the northeast, it will drag colder air in. And so those temperatures will be dropping by early next week. So it's going to be a return to winter. Our future radar is showing for tonight. We're not going to see any precipitation. Moving into the 6 o'clock hour, notice just a few clouds in our sky, but that will start to thicken up by early on Saturday as the cold front approaches. By lunchtime, a few isolated showers from Ithaca to Penn-Yan, and then in Geneva, we're expecting maybe just a few isolated showers, but it looks like Elmira and Corning will stay dry for lunch, but then in the afternoon, some of those showers will make their way into our area. This will continue through the evening hours, and then it looks like we have another cold front that will dive in on Sunday. And so we could have another batch of rain by the end of the day on Sunday. Tonight, though, below freezing, 28 degrees in Corning, 29 in Elmira, and around 30 degrees in Perkinsville. Our highs tomorrow in the 50s, so it's going to be about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than it was today. 53 in Corning, 52 in Elmira, still in the 40s though in Perkinsville at 48 degrees. Clouds will thicken through the day, and then rain chances increase over the weekend. Cooler air by Sunday with a high around 49 degrees, dropping down to around 40 on Monday. Another cold front comes in by the middle of next week, and that's going to bring the possibility of a wintry mix. Temperatures, though, will be quite cold with highs in the 30s.
The first scheduled advisory meeting to determine whether Pfizer and BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine will get the green light was today. But states are already gearing up to give them out. So when might you get one? Mandy Gaither tells us that depends on your age, health, and occupation.
Help is on the way. Vaccines are imminent.
The first to get vaccinated for COVID-19 in the U.S. will be some of those hardest hit by the pandemic. Frontline healthcare workers and support staff and residents of long-term care facilities.
We'll be starting to get vaccine doses in people's arms by the middle and end of December, and then more in January, more in February, and as we get into the late winter and early spring, a lot more.
The next groups to get vaccinated haven't been decided yet, but in January it could be more healthcare workers and other essential workers like emergency medical techs, firefighters, and police. By February, vaccinations may move to other facilities like pharmacies and medical practices and to high-risk adults. In March, it's possible that the U.S. will still be in phase 1 of vaccination simply because of the sheer numbers involved. By April, if more vaccines have been approved and brought online, it's possible phase 2 of vaccinations could begin. This group might include K-12 teachers and staff and childcare workers, as well as other critical workers such as retail workers and transportation workers. Young adults and children would have to wait until phase 3, likely to be May at the earliest.
A little girl won't have her father or grandmother to celebrate with this holiday season. They tragically died in a house fire over the summer, while 11-year-old Brooklyn survived. Addie Guajardo shows us the touching letter she sent to Santa, asking him to help ease her pain.
On the corner of Harlan Way in Arvada, there's a magical sight filling hearts with hope.
It's just amazing.
A home Santa can't miss. It's where his biggest fan and helper lives.
Every night I send the letters off to Santa.
Every day new letters arrive, but one in particular, heavy with heartache, caught Amber's eye.
Santa, I've been suffering from depression and my anger issues have been bad lately. So what I'm trying to say is I shouldn't get presents, and can you please stop my sadness?
Santa sent his helper on a mission.
He said that I needed to find her.
With the power of Facebook,
I'm 11 years old.
Amber tracked down Brooklyn, who penned that heartfelt Christmas wish.
I was sad. And that, I wanted my happiness back.
A fire ravaged her home and left her family in despair.
Our dad and our grandma passed away during the fire, but Brooklyn got out. Thanks to our amazing neighbor.
A survivor, filled with grief, but not alone.
My dad passed away in a house fire, and I just immediately wanted to protect her.
A guide for a little girl who feels lost in a world of pain.
I feel like whether it be my dad or Brooklyn's dad, that they brought us together.
Forming a new bond and a new wish list.
Brooklyn loves to do crafts, so she wants paint sets, watercolors.
The simple things that help paint a life full of love.
I would just want to wrap this year with a good note.
A group of pool servicemen are doing it all, cleaning your pool and administering justice. They took it upon themselves to stop an alleged thief after they saw him trying to take a package from a home. Joe Hickman has the story.
This is the city, Springfield, Missouri, where every day citizens feel the call to duty, where guys who normally do maintenance on spas and jacuzzis suddenly become the pool police. It was Tuesday around 2:30 when partners Patrick Silver and Felipe Lopez were fixing a jacuzzi at a home on Ingram Mill Road when they suddenly noticed a male subject stealing a package out of a nearby home's mailbox behind that tree. Lopez chased down the perpetrator while Silver recorded it.
I knew that something needed to be done right then and there, and I screamed out, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" And he turned around and I ripped the package out of his hand. He put his hands up. He looked terrified. I asked him what did he think he was doing, that people work hard for their belongings, that you don't need to be stealing.
Lopez let the perpetrator off with a warning and returned the package to the rightful owner.
I just caught a gentleman trying to steal from your mailbox.
We talked to the grateful package owner, wanting just the facts, ma'am, just the facts.
At first thought, I was like, he's dedicated. I mean, it was my daughter's winter clothes, so I'm very thankful.
But at the same time, it made me nervous. I'm like, so don't risk your life for a package.
Well, ma'am, that's our job. Clean pools, catch crooks. And oh yeah, take snakes out of your pool house.
We usually find copperheads. Copperheads are like the biggest one that we find in pool houses. And I'll just simply use a stick, pin their head down, grab them, and relocate them.
So, snakes, pools, crime. We pretty much help wherever we can.
He has the hero gene, I guess.
Wish more people were like that.
I just kind of felt like I did what any good Samaritan would do, and step up, because we need to stop turning a blind eye. We need to get involved. We need to look out for each other.
If your neighbor needs something, help your neighbor. The more you talk to your neighbors and the more you know them, that's really what builds a community, and we're happy to be a part of this community.
Scotch might be about to get cheaper, though you will have to wait until next year to find out. You can thank Brexit for this one. Spirits and wines from 4 European countries got more expensive last year when the Trump administration slapped tariffs on them. The UK was one of those countries. This was because of an aerospace trade dispute with the European Union. But British officials say they plan to end tariffs on some US goods when the UK leaves the EU. And that would give them leverage to ask the US to ditch its tariffs as well. That could mean lower prices on Scotch whiskey as well as British wines. The UK can't start inking its own trade deals until January 1st.
A little boy's lost doll finds its way home, but not before becoming a temporary Home Depot employee. Sounds like a plot for Toy Story 5, doesn't it? Well, it really happened when employees found a Sheriff Woody doll that had been left behind at this store in Plastow, New Hampshire. They posted on social media asking locals to get the word out, and then they had some fun, adding images of Woody all dolled up in a signature Home Depot apron, putting in some work around the store.
The main goal of the entire thing was just to get Woody back to his home.
And it worked. About a week later, Woody was reunited with his owner, a 2-year-old boy who, along with his dad, regularly visits the store.
I handed him Woody and his face just lit up. It was the cutest thing. Like, it made my whole day.
A very happy ending to this retail fairy tale. And from a Toy Story to a toy store, the iconic FAO Schwartz is offering up a night of wonder by listing its Manhattan toy store on Airbnb. One lucky family of 4 from New York City can spend the night there on December 21st. They'll have free reign of the 2-story, 20,000 square foot Wonderland. It also includes a shopping spree, a feast, and a music lesson on that famous giant piano. Yep, just like the one in the movie Big. Man, it's like 6 degrees of Tom Hanks today. And here's the best part. The priceless experience is very reasonably priced. It's only $25 for the night. An online lottery for the stay on Airbnb's website will help determine the lucky winning family. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. A puppy's brush with death after being caught in an alligator's mouth has given him a new job, other than just being cute. Gunner is now a deputy dog with the Lee County, Florida Sheriff's Office. Richard Wilbanks wrestled with the gator to free Gunner from its jaws back in October. Wilbanks had been on a walk with his wife and Gunner when the gator thought it was getting a free lunch. The county sheriff says Gunner's survival instinct makes him a perfect candidate for his Pets on Patrol program. The Deputy Dogs program encourages pet owners to be on the lookout for suspicious activity while out with their animals. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.